The Punisher: One Last Kill is now streaming on Disney Plus, and I've just watched it. Let's discuss. Hello and welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, then welcome on in. My name is Jay. As I said, in this video, we're going to be discussing my thoughts on the new Marvel Studios Disney Plus presentation, The Punisher: One Last Kill. As the name suggests, the special focuses on Frank Castle, aka The Punisher, seemingly looking at what happened to him after the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 and ahead of his appearance in the upcoming Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Before I get into my full thoughts, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Most of you that watch my videos are not subscribed, so go ahead, click the button. I would love to have you here alongside me. Without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on the presentation. The Punisher: One Last Kill is directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, who also writes the presentation alongside Punisher actor Jon Bernthal. It's actually Marvel Studios' third project, which has the special presentation banner attached to it, but it has been years since the previous two. In 2022, we had Werewolf by Night, and a few months later that was followed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. That's almost a 4-year gap since we've actually had one of these. With these special presentations, especially Werewolf by Night, they always felt very separate and standalone, and whilst they might pull in characters from other points of the MCU, that's more talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy one, of course, the presentations still felt separate and their own entity, where the stories that were being told were actually pretty much self-contained. The Punisher: One Last Kill follows that trend. We've obviously had Jon Bernthal appear as the Punisher in several other Marvel projects, namely Daredevil, Daredevil Born Again, and his own show, The Punisher. But the story we get, although it does reference the character's history, does an excellent job of catching you up on where he's been if you've never seen those projects before. I think that was a purposeful choice. As I said, the Punisher is going to be appearing in Spider-Man Brand New Day in just a couple months' time, and Spider-Man's very well known for, although a lot of Marvel fans, of course, will go and see it, Spider-Man captures the general audiences, and they're not as likely to have seen the projects that I've just mentioned that Frank Castle has previously appeared in, so the audiences are going to need some kind of catch up on who this guy actually is. In this case, The Punisher: One Last Kill acts as a pretty quick, accessible project that'll familiarise that more general audience with the character. It's not a mistake that they're releasing this just before the new Spider-Man is going to hit cinemas. Frank Castle's past does inform the story of the special, but that doesn't change the fact that the events are self-contained. We only stay in one central location, and that's what I think warrants the decision to make this a special presentation in the first place. Director Ronaldo Marcus Green has given the special its own distinct style, and I really think that distinguishes it from Castle's previous appearances and makes it a more memorable separate installment. Punisher might be appearing in Spider-Man, but if you think that means they're going to tone him down for this special, then think again. There's an advisory warning, and it really surprised me at the very start of this presentation. I've never seen that for a Marvel project before, and I understand why they had it. As soon as One Last Kill starts, something happens which I don't think should ever happen in film or television. It's kind of like an unwritten rule, or it certainly is in my books, that the thing that they decide to do, I'm like, no, we should not be seeing that anywhere. But they go ahead and do it anyway. The inevitable kills that happen are extremely violent, and at many times you're probably going to be looking away from your TV screen if you're not a fan of that more brutal violence. But of course, this is the Punisher we're talking about, so what do you expect? One of the most memorable sequences for me in this special is when the camera retains a close-up of Frank Castle as he's walking through the streets of Sicily, and there's this chaos and turmoil that is going on behind him. He stays blurred, or sorry, the action behind him stays blurred that whole time as we get a clear shot of Frank walking through all of this, trying to get involved in any of it. And that really highlights his withdrawal from society. I mentioned the action sequences, they're full of raw, gritty rampage, and we also see it with the Punisher. Jon Bernthal once again gives a stellar performance, and it's hard to imagine anyone else doing this role as well as he does, which is a little bit ironic because, as Deadpool says, there's like 5 Punishers at this point, but Jon Bernthal is just really giving it his all, and I think it pays off. Whilst I've said that the presentation does exist on its own, and it certainly does, there are some character appearances that solidify the special's place within the wider MCU. I won't spoil exactly who they are. I'm sure if you've seen the trailer that you'll have seen one of them, but I think there are two notable ones overall, that both of whom have an important relationship to Frank Castle, and I think that's why they are warranted in this special. I will say that the characters who do appear, they only appear as hallucinations. I don't think that's a surprise to say, given where we are in the timeline. But with one of them, I think it's implied that the character has died. I was a bit unclear on that character's fate because last time we saw them, in a previous MCU show. They were shown to be alive, granted it's been some time. Would have liked some more clarity there, but good to see them nonetheless. Both of the characters, that is, for that matter. That's really all I have to say in terms of giving a spoiler-free review of the special. If I was to give an overall rating to The Punisher One Last Kill, I'd give it a solid 4 stars. I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're going to see Spider-Man. It doesn't connect directly to that, but it will give you a pretty accessible way to catch up on exactly who Frank Castle, the Punisher, is. Of course, if you have time, I would recommend going to watch all of his previous MCU experiences because there's some great television in there. But I know this special was probably made with half the reason that people do not have time to go and do all that homework as they may see it. So this is a pretty quick way to find out more about this guy before he shows up in Spider-Man. That is all for this one. Again, please do subscribe. Don't click away yet. Quick, hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. That's all for now. Bye.